The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him the Grand Circle Tour podcast sent you.
Because there is something evil here, and we must stay.
Evil? Don't be daft.
Evil is what I meant. There are some corners of the universe which have bred the most terrible things. Things which act against everything that we believe in. They must be fought.
Oh my giddy aunt. Justin, we have made it to week 4, season 4 of our little detour series on Dr. Mysterio. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm really good. You know, it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I am hanging out with you, talking Doctor Who, and looking at the numbers on these. People like hearing us talk about Doctor Who, so thank you everyone tuning in and listening and sharing and thumbs upping and all that good social media stuff. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys listening. So here we are. We are in 1966 to 67. And Justin, this is one of the single most important seasons of the show to this day.
And yet, almost every single episode is missing.
Right, and that is the tragedy. So much of this is gone.
So this is why I now call this season Doctor Who the Animated Series.
Yes.
It's definitely becoming that. So out of 43 episodes, I think about 10 of them exist.
Yeah.
And BBC has been creating animations of so many of these, and so we do get to see.
Right, because they still have the original audio files, so they have all of the sound effects, all of the dialogue, all of the music, all of that exists on tape. The video doesn't.
Yeah. So as I was looking into some of this stuff, now I don't know if you've caught this or not. I hadn't. But at the time when they were announcing that Disney Plus is going to be doing the streaming for Doctor Who, the new Doctor Who, starting in November, they also mentioned that BBC America was no longer going to do their part of the funding for these animations. And so the animations were being put on hold. Well, just last month, in the Mirror, there was a story that they did find some other funding. And so they are planning to animate two stories for the 60th anniversary. And they're both from this season, The Smugglers and The Underwater Menace.
Okay, see, and that's what I've been thinking is that we are going to get, because we've been getting these awesome Blu-ray sets from the classic series, all new special features, and because there isn't a lot that exists currently, I'm thinking we're going to get an entire animated season just because all the video is gone.
And it's looking a lot more like that.
What are these
Most of these have already been animated. You add those two in, I think The Highlanders is about the only thing left after that.
Yeah. And I do want to say, now we wrapped up last week by talking about two episodes of the season. We wrapped them up. They were The Smugglers and The 10th Planet, and we wrapped them up last week. We just put all of Hartnell into one box so that this week, clean break, we're starting third story in of season 4, because that's where Patrick begins.
Absolutely. So as we mentioned last week, William Hartnell's health was kind of failing. So they were looking at ways of how do we how do we keep this going? Can we just, bring in a new actor? And how do we even do that? Some shows at the time would just bring in a new actor and say, okay, that's still the same character, just don't pay any attention to the fact that they look different now. And they thought about doing that. In fact, they thought about doing it as early as the Celestial Toymaker last season.
Right.
They chose not to do that, but they were also concerned that there's a lot of young children watching this and that they would be confused if they didn't have a better explanation than that. And so that's partly why they went, you know what, we have a science fiction show here.
Justin,
we have some options.
I'm still bothered when I turn into Bewitched. I don't know which Darren I'm going to get. And that is a trigger.
Absolutely. So they did come up with this idea. Then it's like, okay, what we now call it regeneration. They called it renewal at that time.
But here's what makes and I really think Patrick Troughton is one of the most, if not the most important Doctor, because he picks up the ball from this other actor and he doesn't put on his costume, he doesn't put on his wig, he doesn't act him. He does his own thing, which opens it up so that every other actor going forward can step into this role and go, okay, it's mine now, and this is how I'm going to play it. This is how I fit into this skin.
Yeah, and even then, there was some confusion initially about what was this new character going to be like. There had been talk about, originally he was almost like this pirate, sort of space pirate kind of figure.
Yeah.
And which Sidney Newman, the producer at the time, took one look at and went, no, mess up his hair, make him more of a cosmic hobo. So
and
then they
worked.
went way too far in that direction and made like this caricature of a hobo. And then after that, he looked at that one. What am I even paying you people for? So Patrick Troughton himself went, you know what? I think I know what he wants. And he took an active role in kind of creating this character. And he was a good character actor already. So he knew what he was doing. And he
was
came
a
up with
brilliant actor.
all of what we see here. And we kind of touched on this a little bit last week as well, but what he came up with was this character that has this like almost buffoonish exterior, but is still like this schemer behind it, who's always paying attention, acting as a detective. He will know he's like the chess master, and we see that aspect of this character referenced time and time again in future Doctors going forward. Probably most notably in McCoy's Doctor, the 7th Doctor.
That's where I was going to go, is you could see where McCoy is a much darker version of this, because here he fools you with his clownery. I'm a buffoon, but really he's thinking all the time. He's figuring it out. He is the most dangerous person in the room, but he doesn't want you to even think of him that way.
Yeah, he uses that buffoonery to put people at ease. No, I'm not a threat. All the while he's figuring out how he's going to stop whatever evil plan you have in motion.
That's how I get through life on the Jungle Cruise.
There's a wonderful bit in An Adventure in Space and Time introducing him, and I think it's based on a real conversation, but William Hartnell says to Troughton, yeah, when they told me that they wanted to replace me, I told them there was only one man in all of England who could do this. And Troughton is like, oh, couldn't they get him?
It was a really gentle handoff. It seems to be there was a lot of admiration for each other as that switch happened.
Yeah, I think they both, the two actors, had a lot of respect for each other. Troughton was a little nervous about coming into this role, but he, like you said, he took on a more active role in creating what this character was going to be. And I
don't know, Justin, what's it like to jump onto a show midway through?
I have no idea. That would be weird, right?
We get some cracking stories though. Power of the Daleks. We're going to start there. Season
Absolutely.
4, episode 3. I went and saw the animation of this in 2016 on the big screen. And
Oh, nice.
cosplayers came in dressed as the War Doctor, the 6th Doctor, and the 10th Doctor. And it was so hard for me not to go up and be like, can I get your pictures? And now I wish I had. Was much younger at the time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that I get that. Now, one thing with the Daleks. So we actually have 2 stories with the Daleks this season, and one of the ways that we find all of these lost episodes, right, is that after the BBC had recorded these episodes, they recorded them and edited them on videotape, and that's what got wiped out. But for the overseas markets, they would create, they would transfer them to like 16 millimeter film and send them off to overseas markets.
Right, and a lot of these went to like Africa and Asia and places like that.
Yeah. So, and the deal was, when they were done broadcasting, they were supposed to either destroy it or send it back to the BBC. And we found lots of places where they did neither. But because Terry Nation had retained some of the copyright and intellectual property control over the Daleks, especially at this time, he was trying to find a way to cash in on them separately. He wanted to like create a whole separate series with just them. But so these episodes with the Daleks, these stories with the Daleks, weren't sent as many places. So there are fewer copies out there.
I still think or at least I'd like to believe that each missing episode is out there in someone's private collection or in someone's attic in a box forgotten. I really want to believe that at some point all of this footage is going to be returned to us.
And so the evil of the Daleks, kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but that one has one of the episodes was recovered, and the story is exactly the kind of one that gives people like you hope.
Yeah.
They didn't have like one of these 16 millimeter film originals that from the BBC. What they had done is they managed to record the video from their TV screen, basically. And this turned up in like a car boot sale.
So I really, really like to believe, faith, trust, pixie dust, all that there's all still out there, and one day we will all get to see them. Because Patrick Troughton was a brilliant actor, brilliant character actor, and his portrayal is what we take for granted today, where yes, it's the same character, you can see the same character, but this is a different persona now, and you just run with it. There is no questioning this is not the same character from last season or from earlier this season.
And as much as I enjoy the animations, it's not the same as seeing Patrick Troughton acting out the role. It just isn't.
I want to see all these wonderful people act.
But yeah, so Power of the Daleks, we get the return of the Daleks. We have Doctor with going around with Ben and Polly at this point still.
I love Ben and Polly. This is 6 episodes. Like I said, all of them are missing. And here's what I love about the story, Justin. We have Daleks disguised as servants with a doctor with flappy hands and a bow tie. Will we see this 40 years down the road again?
Yeah, to hear the Daleks saying, "We are your servants."
Especially the way they copied the way they said it back then. I'm a nerd. I get a kick out of this stuff. This is a great story, and and this was a very high. It's very high in the numbers. This story.
It is a good story. It is one that I have on. I have the animation on DVD, so I have been able to watch. I think I bought it like about the time it came out.
Right. So then we have the Highlanders, Battle of Culloden in 1746, and we meet one of the best companions of all time, Jamie McCrimmon.
Now, Jamie and the second Doctor were a wonderful little double act. Getting Frasier Hines to come in and play Jamie was just a total win for everyone involved.
And they became real life friends, and you can see the friendship play out between the characters.
Oh, absolutely. And they worked on some of their little bits together and all of that. And so the two of them definitely had a lot of fun playing their respective parts.
Jamie is his definitive companion.
For the second Doctor, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, of everyone, yeah, those two are such a perfect pairing that it's amazing to watch.
And what I love is Frasier Hines will play both those characters on Big Finish. Which we're going to have to get to some really good Big Finish stories for the second Doctor. I think we're going to have to squeeze in a season 6B lore and just make it all Big Finish.
Now, at one point, they had been talking about animating the Highlanders, and they changed their mind and ended up doing the Macro Terra instead, just because they thought it was going to be a little too difficult to create all those character models and whatnot for that historical. And this, I believe, if I remember from my research, this is the last pure historical.
For a while, yeah.
For quite a while. And that's partly down to Patrick Troughton wanting to kind of take things in a little different direction and have a little different show now that he was the Doctor instead of Hartnell.
Again, same show, new face. This is what I love. Doesn't matter where we are in the timeline. Same character, same show, despite all the change.
But yeah, so we get Jamie joins up with the team in the Highlanders, and then we move on to the Underwater Menace, where we have
I just want to
three companions now.
Really quick, I love this TARDIS team. I love a crowded TARDIS. This is one of my favorite TARDIS teams.
Yeah, For everyone who looked at, say, the 13th Doctor's run and complained about, oh, well, we can't possibly have 3 companions. That's where we started.
I was going to say that. We didn't stop doing that until about it's about the 70s.
I know. Yeah, a lot of the 4th Doctor stories had 3 companions. 5th Doctor had at least 3 companions a lot of times. Yeah. I mean.
It's a while before we pared down to just the Doctor and the pretty girl.
I would say probably around the 6th Doctors, I think, is when we finally stopped having 3 companions.
Yeah, we nailed down that formula.
Yeah.
So
the Underwater Menace, we go to Atlantis, of all places.
And this has one of the most quoted lines in all of the show. I'm going to put it right here, where he goes,
Nothing in the world can stop me now!
and you're going to hear that over and over and over in Doctor Who montages. Now you know where it comes from.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a fun episode. I haven't watched it, but
no,
it is one of them that they're planning to animate this year. So, looking forward to that.
Sorry, I'm making a note to myself to not forget to put that audio clip in there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be a really bad reading of me doing that line. So only episodes 2 and 3 exist in the archive. So we just need episodes 1 and 4 animated.
Yeah. And some of these they'll just animate the missing episodes. Sometimes they've animated everything. Even if they have the episode, so yeah. I don't know what they'll do with this one. I'm assuming they'll just do the missing ones.
Have you watched Shada where they animated the missing portions, and so you go back and forth between?
I love that one.
Yeah, I get the biggest kick out of that.
And it's something that I remember watching it and going, I didn't think that would work as well as it did, but they did a great job with the animation, and it never felt out of place to switch back and forth.
It was fun. It was fun because it wouldn't exist otherwise, and so this is what I love about one of the things. Millions of things I love about the show is the amounts of hand wavium that I can apply. And so watching that, it's yes, back and forth. It's like watching the Beatles. Oh, so our next story.
The moon base.
My favoriteest monsters of all.
And we get the return of the Cybermen. And
And
one
a-
thing I noticed about this as I was looking into this again, they look a little different. I mean, they look very similar, but now their faces are metal instead of that sort
surgical.
surgical
Yeah.
gauze sort of look from the 10th planet.
Yeah, this is our first redesign, and this is going to kind of stick. We're going to get an evolution of this going forward up until, God, we're not going to see him again until the 4th Doctor's era. But we're going to see him a lot over the next couple of years.
So yeah, the Doctor and his team end up on the moon of all places, and they find a moon base, and what do you know? There's a Cyberman in there trying to convert people.
This is a really tight base under siege 4-part story. This is a really good one. I think you can show people who you can introduce people to classic Who through this one because the story and the pacing are so tight.
Yeah, some of these they get a little repetitive because of, they have to have their cliffhanger at the end of each episode and things like that. And
I think we've talked about it. Back in this day, it was on a half hour on Saturday nights. It was tea time programming. And so you would have these, anywhere between 2 to 8 to 10 episodes, as we're going to see, to stretch these stories out and really fill them out. And it's one of the things I really miss about classic Who in the modern era. I like the slower pacing. I like the filling of scenes and dialogue and painting a bigger picture that takes weeks and months to tell.
Yeah, you know darn well that if they were writing some of these now, they would take these 6-episode stories and pack them down into maybe 2.
Yeah. And in some cases, they would pack them into one 45-minute episode.
But yeah, so the moon base, I believe, that one's been animated as well.
Yeah, one and 3 are missing, but they've been reanimated. You can find this one on DVD easily on Amazon. I can't remember if BritBox has this one for viewing.
Okay. I know the next one, the Macro Terror, has also been animated because I have that one on DVD.
And I have it on Blu-ray, so there.
Well, there you go.
I do that.
Well, we're just waiting until we get
that's
our season 4 Blu-ray collection.
I can't.
It's going to be all animated.
I can't wait. That'll be the perfect way to introduce some Disney fans to Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm. Have a whole season that's just all animated. That would be hilarious.
I think we get some people on board that way.
Yeah.
So the next story, I hate to say, is probably the most forgettable story of the whole season. It's just not the best story there is. I'm sorry.
Well, the Macro Terror has
some
giant
cringy-
crabs. What's that?
There's a joke in there on this family show that I won't go there.
Well, they do make a return in the I think it was the 10th Doctor's run.
Yeah, it's season
During-
29. During the episode Gridlock, we see them
Gridlock.
again.
Yes.
But there they've de-evolved. Here
So
they're smart.
even though we have like it's all lost. All we've got for video is like these animations that have been created more recently. They still brought that that villain back.
And you know what? For a hardcore, and I love that because for hardcore nerd fans like me, I'm like, nom 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 nom. I'm just gonna eat that up. But if you don't know what it is, you don't know what it is. It's not going to affect the storytelling for you, unless you're sitting with me and I go, okay, so here's what happened.
Be prepared for a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation, and
Yeah, I have my soapbox ready to go at all times.
I believe this about you.
It's Jungle Cruise themed. So the next story is going to make me really sad.
So the faceless ones. Okay, so we end up we're back at they land at Gatwick Airport. We've got Ben, Polly, and Jamie. Still have the 3 companions.
For now,
the aliens are trying to take over, but they're like the pod people. They're taking over and replacing people.
They're kidnapping groovy teenagers, making them slaves and replacing with their own people. But this one is the departure of Ben and Polly, and this one makes me sad. I love these 2 companions.
Well, but at least in their defense, they did it on screen this time instead of like with Dodo.
Poor Dodo, yeah, but they get a lovely exit. The story takes place on the same day that they left, so they're able to go back to their lives with no time interruption from other people's point of view.
Yeah, and that's part of their reasoning for why they decided to stay behind. Partly too, I think the behind the scenes, I think they were like, Jamie's working out really well.
Yeah.
Well,
and as I said
we
before,
definitely wanted to keep him. They had talked about having Polly stay as well, but I think she decided to leave, kind of in solidarity with Ben. She had joined with him. Yeah. So she decided to leave with him as well.
They didn't need Ben anymore, and they wanted to keep Polly, but. Also at the time, and I mentioned this before, Anneke Wills, the actress who played her, was one of the most fascinating London it girls of the 60s. And so she had so much going on at this time. I've said it before, go to her website, the signed copy of her autobiography, stories with the Beatles, with the Rolling Stones, just a fascinating lady, and that book is just a neat snapshot into that time. That whole groovy 60s London.
Sounds like the sort of thing you're going to enjoy whether you're a Doctor Who fan or not.
Yeah, it's just a great read.
But so now we're up to the evil of the Daleks, and now it's just the Doctor and Jamie up against the Daleks once again.
And what's funny is this is still to this day, one of the best Dalek stories in the 60-year history of the show. It's also was the lowest rated Dalek episode of its time, and it's all but one is missing.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, that one showed up just because someone managed to record the video off of their TV screen, which is not easy to do even today, much less back then, because of different frame rates and all of that mess.
Well, and
it's very difficult, and then it just shows up in like the equivalent of a rummage sale.
I believe they're all out there. I believe before I leave this mortal coil, I'm gonna see them all.
Well, I think this one in particular, it makes me think if someone went through that much effort to do one episode, they had to have done more.
I really like to think that somebody watched all of these and went, well, taking these home from work and no one's going to know.
Yeah, so there's always a, as you say, a glimmer of hope for all of it. And so
this is one
as fans, we cling to that hope.
I have the vinyl release of the audio reconstruction. If you can get one for under $100, snag one up. It's great. Other than that, this is one of also the best novelizations of a Doctor Who episode ever. You can get this on Kindle as a Target book for $9.99, and it is a heck of a read. We get brand new companion. Oh my God, why can't I speak? We get brand new companion Victoria, who's going to travel with them for a while.
That is true. She does join in this one. Yep.
Yeah, it's Victorian times, Daleks. It's a crazy, creepy story.
Yeah. Victoria is, I believe, the daughter of the scientist who's managed to sort of create this time-traveling portal that the Daleks have kidnapped her in order to threaten her life to get him to do what they need him to do. And yeah, it's a wild ride. And then Victoria ends up with the Doctor and Jamie.
Victoria's Victorian. I actually I'm gonna plant a flag here and say, passengers who like to read, Anybody who wants to read a Doctor Who book, get this book on Kindle. Like I said, $10. This is a great weekend read. It will give you a really neat insight into the past as well as the future of the show.
And it's an interesting story all the way through. So I think, but otherwise it is like all of these others, it has been animated, so you can see it in animated form as well. If you track down the DVD or find it on, is it BritBox is where it's streaming, you said?
BritBox, but like I said, I skip straight to the book. Let see it in your head. This story is way crazier if you visualize it for yourself.
Fair enough.
And make sure you visualize it in black and white.
I'll do my best.
So, Justin, here we are in one of the most important times of the show. I just wish more of it existed. I wish we could watch these great people perform these great parts, tell these great stories.
But yeah, the introduction of Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor and seeing his new take on it, the introduction of Jamie as his companion, and the two of them, like I said, act so well together, act off of each other so well. They're clearly having a great time, and it shows. It shows in their performance. They enjoy each other's company and are doing a great job. We get Victoria, and I think she hangs out with them for quite a while, doesn't she?
She's going to be with them for a while, yeah. We're not going to see Zoe for a little bit. I'll ask you, Justin, because are you like me where does the missing content in a way make you love it more? Because it's not like you just throw on the DVD and watch it. There's like a thrill of the hunt of having to know the stuff and research it and read it and watch it. It's a hobby to go and consume it.
You know, as someone who kind of collects bits of video as it is, I mean, it definitely gives me that challenge of finding all the video for this, so I can sit down and watch them all the way through. So this is something that I've started doing now. Is like I'm technically on my rewatch. I'm about partway through season 3 right now. I'm up to about what did I say?
Oh, come on, we just did it last week.
The Daleks Master Plan. Yes.
No, it's the thrill of having to go find it makes me appreciate it, makes me want it more, and makes me like it more when I am able to consume it, whether finding it on YouTube, having to buy an out of print DVD, reading a book, searching for a record. It's this great Aladdin's cave of treasures you have to search through.
Well, and it's been sort of my incentive is to buy the animation DVDs as well, is just because I prefer to watch those over like the loose cannon telesnap reconstructions if I can. So that's why I've been buying up every single one of these animated ones.
Oh, me too. I am about to buy a physical copy of every release there is.
And I will tell the passengers, if you can get hold of like these the new Blu-ray collection sets of the various seasons, I mean, it's not available for all seasons just yet.
Right.
They're coming out kind of haphazard order, but every single one of them have so many wonderful special features and whatnot that it's worth every penny to get them, I believe.
It is, and it's nice to have that media that you can watch anytime, that they're not going to take away or modify. I'm not going to go on my rant. I am going to say,
just because something is on a streaming service today, and it doesn't matter which one,
here today, gone tomorrow.
There's no guarantee that it'll still be there tomorrow. I mean, I don't know how many times I've started a series watching a series on streaming only to have it disappear in the middle of me watching it.
And the other reason I love collecting all of these Doctor Who classic season Blu-rays that are coming out is all the VAM. It's what we used to call bonus features. The technical term is VAM, value added material. See, there's something you learned today. And that's all the special features on these Blu-ray ones. Not only is it all of every single special feature from the old DVD releases, It has brand new features, brand new interviews, all new content to go with the old content. So it's really, if you get into this is something you can put on a shelf and treasure and just mine for gold anytime you want.
Yeah, I really feel like they've been pulling out kind of all the stops.
Yeah.
And creating these Blu-ray collections. So I really enjoy those. I highly encourage, if you're a fan of the show, seek those out whenever you can. Any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
Next week, one of my favoriteest stories in all of Doctor Who's 60-year history. And we're going to get there next week. It involves my favorite monsters. Gee,
who could that be?
Well, we haven't met my favorite villain yet, but we have met my favorite monsters.
They have so many good stories.
I never get tired of the Cybermen.
But with that, shall we wrap this up then?
I think we shall. Do you want to let Ken take it away, or shall I?
It's your show. You take it.
All right, fine. Ken, take it away.
The Grand Circle Tour podcast is brought to you by Expedition Roasters. When you visit expeditionroasters.com, use the promo code Grand Circle Tour podcast. That's all one word, and you'll receive 10% off of your order. If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to like our Facebook friends page, Grand Circle Tour Magical Ticket Holders. While you're on Facebook, like our group page, Grand Circle Tours. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, as well as Instagram, GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour, and on TikTok at Grand Circle Tour Podcast. That's all one word. If you would like to email us, drop us a line at gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merchandise can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your adventure, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Only one rule, make it good. All logos, sounds, songs, and music that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned in full by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be owned in any way by the Grand Circle Tour Podcast. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
Where is the doctor? Speak. You are a very stupid machine.